Oh, the world of spies. And my experience as a civil society actor researching national security models. In the UK, when I came into the country, one of the times I came into the country whilst I was doing this research, I was at Heathrow, Terminal 5. An immigration officer who was actually counterterrorism, borders, part of that team, and I'm probably not saying the right name, but I'll connect links so you can look them up if you're so inclined. Asked me if he asked me what I was doing going from meeting to meeting, taking notes. And so that's what I was doing from meeting to meeting, taking notes, civil society meetings and other meetings. But I was curious as to how they knew. And before I could ask that, the counterterrorism officer said, CIA? And I said, CIA? And he mockingly said, yeah, CIA. Well, of course I know that's the acronym for the Central Intelligence Agency, but I didn't, the context of the situation, the CIA wouldn't have had anything to do with me. So I literally didn't know that's what he was talking about. And when I realized that's what he was talking about, I gasped and said, no, I'm not. CIA. So that was the UK. And so next in chronological order, I went into Canada. And it was actually my first trip to Canada as a tourist. I'd gone to Canada before previously, but that's because my flight from London to Chicago O'Hare had been rerouted. So this was my first official trip to Canada. I was flying into Toronto. And an immigration officer, well, so I thought she was, started asking me about British intelligence. MI5. Well, I've met people that I suspected was MI5, but I've never met anyone that has identified themselves as MI5 because I have asked, are you MI5? No. Why do you ask? That's usually the answer I got. Or a smile, a smile. And they'd say no. Well, in Canada, I started crying because I thought they weren't going to let me in the country. And that's the point that the young lady behind the desk said, no, we don't think you're a spy or intelligence officer or something like that, she said, but we think you have associated with them. So hence me going on. No, I very well may have. I think the British believe I have in London, foreign operatives in London that identified themselves to me as diplomats. So, and I have met people, British nationals, that I suspected were MI5, but when I asked, they denied. So I'm telling her all this, and I was allowed in the country, and they were clarifying that they wanted to know that it was an asked question, and you've now answered satisfactory. Okay. Then when I went so that was in 2012, again, 2012, in Canada. In 2017, the first time I went to Israel, I had everything prepared. All my questions, all the questions they might ask, all the answers, all my documentation. I'm waiting in the queue, and a young lady comes out. It was now my turn. A young lady comes out and puts her hand up. I can't see what she's saying to the immigration officer, a young man. But once she leaves with her head down so I couldn't see her face, I thought, this is not good. He summons me and asks me where was my passport. Well, what are they going to do to it? Confiscate until I got out the country. I had all of this fear. He gave me a 3-month visa, which he told me that that's what he had given me. He gave me back my passport. And so I asked him, because I was so shocked, is that it? You're not going to ask me any questions? I don't know why I did that, but I did. He just looked at me, and I said, that's it? You have your visa. Go. That was it. So I always find it very interesting how it was the Canadians that made me cry. And I just, it in my career as a civil society researcher of national security models, it's very interesting. Now there are some theories. First of all, my response to the Canadians was that of tears. Actually, in actual reality, they were very professional and very nice. But there are reasons I cried that actually had nothing to do with Canada. And also, I spoke to someone in both Canada who has traveled to Israel numerous times and has family there. He's Jewish. About what happened in 2017 when I went to Israel, and he had a theory for it. That's another podcast. So again, it was Canada. So the UK, Canada, Israel. I get questioned about all three. Well, I go in as a civil society actor researching national security. In all three countries, I've written their government's questions and asked questions, and it was the Canadians that made me cry, and the Israelis that did not ask a single question. So if you're so inclined to jump into the wonderfully interesting and complex world of researching national security, no matter how much anonymity you have in the general public, that might not be the case amongst the spies. The other thing I want to add is I returned to Israel for a very short trip in 2019, and I was asked questions, and just the purpose of my trip, and I told her what the research I was doing, and her response with a smile, the immigration officer this time was a young lady, and she smiled and said, that sounds interesting. Good luck. So you just never know. You just never know. This is DebraVWilson. I'm in Bradford. It is Tuesday, the 29th of June, 2021. The time is 1100 hours and 54 minutes BST. Thank you for listening.